Over the last few years, we realized that there are leadership challenges which are different from one another. And there are new strategies that are to be explored, new thinking process, so on. Today we have with us a C-suite coach, Radhika Balakrishnan, who's going to be sharing insights about how we can innovate, add more value to the success and growth of an organization.
Marksman Daily presents C-Suite Conversations.
A very warm welcome, Radhika ji, to the C-Suite Conversations.
Thank you so much, Sakshi, for bringing me on this platform. Truly excited to be here and share my thoughts and whatever little help I can do to make your journey and make your purpose fulfilled.
Great. Radhika ji, when I was going through your profile and before I reached out, there has been a journey that you've come through, so you've been a part of a corporate, you've done banking for some time. What was that initial thought that, then there is a need for C-suite coaching, and how did all of this come into play?
Interesting question. I think a lot of people actually ask me, because transitioning from a space of banking to becoming a coach is not a very natural progression. We look for natural progression. If you're in finance, probably it's next stage of finance. But there was a time in my journey where after about 14-15 years of working in large MNCs and corporates, I asked this question to myself that if I do not have this backup of my company, who am I? And that question was constantly prodding me into saying, what is it that is next for me? Of course, I didn't have the answers to it. It was not like a movie where you think of and next day you have a light bulb moment. I have personally interacted with CEOs and CXOs quite regularly as part of my work. But how do I be there on the other side? And when I asked this question, I felt there is a need that there is an external intervention which is required for me to say that, hey, look, these are the things which are working for you. These are the things which are not working for you. This is what is happening. Somebody who could just put everything into a combined platform in a holistic manner, because it's not just about my career. I am interested in music, I'm interested in fitness, I'm interested in painting, and there is just so much of creativity coming within me. I said, I need someone who could just help me navigate this whole path. I knocked at many doors. I knocked at the doors of some of my bosses, I knocked at the doors of friends, I knocked at the doors of even some counselors, just to get a feel, maybe is there something that I can get from them. I knocked at the doors of philosophy, learned philosophy and read through them, and I realized that I didn't find someone who could give me this holistic approach, especially from a corporate perspective. And that led me to understand that, like me, I'm not finding answers. There are many people who are there on the floor. I just stood up from my desk and I looked at the floor. 400 people. I said, how many of them actually know their purpose? How many of them are actually inspired to do what they are doing? How many of them actually know that they have the potential to grow? We all are coming in, doing our job, going back home, but there is more to you than just this. And who can help you this? I said, okay, if I can't find someone, let me be that one. And that's where my journey shifted from saying that, let me first figure out my path, then I'll figure it out and help others in the process. The moment I figured out my purpose, that was like actually a bulb moment. So that's how I moved, saying that I'll now start being a coach. And actually, coach is a very interesting analogy which is more prominent in sports. In the career path, we are very typical. It's like a learn, earn, live, retire kind of a path. Whereas in sports, it's not the way. Every time you excel and become number one, you actually introduce a new coach who could actually help you go further on from there.
Yes.
And coaches really play a very, very important role and be the catalyst in their path to becoming super successful. And I said, how can you replicate it in the corporate world? We have so many superstars out here and many in the making. What is stopping them from actually reaching there?
Radhika ji, I have met a few coaches myself who, take up different methodologies, be it expressive arts or theatre, or be it your psychology. What is that method that you imbibe when it comes to your coaching styles?
So, the way I do coaching is more about, first of all, understanding the person. Everyone's starting point is going to be very different. So, putting one size fits all really doesn't work with the participant. And it depends upon their inclinations, like if they are artistic, with their visual, whether they are logical, whether they are rational, they are interpersonal. If you ask me the method, I ask deep questioning. It's about questioning and challenging your thoughts at continuous stages. If you say, I think this is what is the best, I would ask them why. Till you have a reason, till you have a purpose, till you have a real reason and you feel that this is my calling. Till that time, I kind of keep helping them navigate the path. I use multiple methods. I would say it's not one method alone. It's like a combination. Depending on, it's like a doctor. You can learn everything, but if your problem is cold, you only deal with that.
That's right. You think emotional barriers sometimes come, and I'm sure you must have experienced this yourself also. There are leaders while they are at big positions, heading bigger organization and higher sales and doing all the best that they can. There are certain emotional barriers that come in the way of decision making. What would you advise for any leader who's going through such tough times?
We are emotional beings.
Yes.
Whether you are whatever level of hierarchy you are, we are emotional beings. The difference is all about how much mature you are to handle your emotional state. How much faster you develop. You have people who are at 30, 32 also growing to become the CSOs or leaders. And you have people who are at 50 also who become. And what is the differentiator is the person who are able to adapt and make their emotional quotient stronger are actually having better abilities to take decisions. What is it that really makes a leader is constantly they are going to face failures on a continuous basis. They are going to face rejections on a continuous basis. What is the real job at the senior most level? Is to ensure that your ideas are taken forward to a larger set of people and they align with you with that one idea. So there is a whole host of people from down who are looking up to see that if your energy is high, I am also very energetic towards that goal.
But also makes me realize that, most of the leaders that I interview, they have this sense of me time, which personally I think it's brilliant. It's something that, they put their mind to. Either they're meditating, they're reading a book, they're taking short vacations, or possibly doing nothing. Because doing nothing is also doing a lot.
Very well said, actually.
Because, one day you don't have your phone with you and you don't know what to do. So you're lost. So, why don't you tell us about these small examples where there has been victory and success with your clienteles?
So, I embarked on this journey. So, I call my program a CXO incubator. The only reason I call it an incubator is that mid-senior level professionals, if they aspire to be the next CXO, you come here, learn, empower yourself, go ahead and empower others.
Yes.
And it started in Jan 2022. Not very.
It's very recent.
It's recent, but we have already covered. We already have, and I'm building it as a community. We have over 150 members in the community already, who have gone through the entire program with me. I've coached all of them. It's a different format of coaching, where we are forming a community, and as a community, we want to be, and we aspire to be purpose-driven leaders. My intention is that each person who is a purpose-driven leader from my community in turn impacts at least 1,000, 2,000 people in their zone of work. So the simple successes have been, I had a great conversation with my boss. Till yesterday, we were at loggerheads, but today I was able to sort it and I'm now moving ahead. My leadership is now watching me and recognizing me as someone who could take more responsibilities. Then of course we have people who have been in Middle East, they've all grown up from CXO -2 to becoming CXOs and leading from the front. And in turn getting a job call, all that is an outcome.
Yes.
Is an But the internal transformation that you go through, right, is the real pudding on the cake.
Great. I think this conversation has been very, very interesting. Having said that, there are certain things that I have realized. Number one, communication. Because if you don't communicate with what you want, especially with the HR and management, you won't get it because people need to know. What is your take on that?
Anyone who wants to become a leader, 3 things are very, very important. One is definitely you have to work on your personal brand. Why should somebody know you just because you're doing a great job?
Yeah. You have to outperform.
Not just outperform, you have to talk about yourself as well. And there are methods of doing a personal branding in a very subtle manner. You don't have to be boisterous or anything. There are methods to follow. Second is, of course, you have to focus on how your work is adding and creating more impact. So pick up work which is actually going to give larger impact, and also which is where your organization's goals are in future. So where I feel people stuck is they typically focus on doing their deliverables great.
Yeah.
The focus on impact, the focus on influence, on personal brand becomes less. So my request is start focusing on building your personal brand. Start focusing on creating larger impact, and start thinking, acting and being. Then one day you will be a CXO. If you don't become a CXO because you reach there, you are creating impact and you are known and you have been, that's why you get an opportunity to be called or at least take the role.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Radhika ji.
Thank
And
you.
it has been an extreme pleasure to have interviewed you.
Fantastic. It's lovely meeting you as well, Sakshi. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Conversing with Radhika ji was no less than a coaching session. If you see, my motivation is pumped up next level. The kind of learnings that I've received in the last 15-20 minutes has been commendable. And one thing that I took back from her is that we are not rats, so stop the rat race. Look forward to many more episodes of C-Suite Conversations.